The ultimate goal of farming and farmers is not growing crops, but it is the cultivation and perfection of mankind. Having said that, Namaste Bharat. My name is Gagan C. On this YouTube channel, I would raise my views on current issues faced by India and try to draw a line of valuable logical conclusions to it. हम बचपन से ये सुनते आ रहे इस पावरफुल स्लोगन को. इट वॉज वेरी कन्वेंशनल, जय जवान जय किसान. परंतु from the recent past, recent 2 months, farmers have been protesting and raising slogans such as किसान बचाओ मंडी बचाओ, मंडी बचाओ किसान बचाओ. Why are the farmers protesting? Why is it so controversial, the 3 farm bills introduced by the central government in the year 2020? Let's have a look into it. All doubts, one clear-cut destination, this video. Having said that, so please like, share and subscribe. So I'd like to start off by raising 2 superb points. That is, our Indian agricultural sector contributes highest to the GDP and Indian economy, and the farmers are the backbone of Indian agriculture as well as Indian economy. It is not the capitalists or it is not the government, right? So let's go 200 years back, 70 years back from the time of our independence, and assess the situation then. So the Indian agriculture system. So once the British Raj ended in India, the agricultural sector was monopolized and occupied by moneylenders and traders. They used to lend money to the farmers and made sure that the farmers could not repay the money back to the moneylenders, and in exchange of money they used to get the agricultural produce which was more than the money paid to them. In this way, the farmers were exploited and perpetually in debts. To prevent this, during the time of the Green Revolution, the government decided to bring in this act, and thus the APMC system or the Mandi system, that is the Agricultural Produce Market Committee system, was established. And in the rural background, people called it the mandis. So here, the farmers could take their produce in their own charges from the farm fields to this particular APMC markets and could sell off their produce to either farmers and to either traders or to the public. Again, the traders had to pay some tax to the government to get their license to trade in the APMCs. The traders decided and explored a loophole in this act and started minting money. So when people quote different rates to the minimum selling price that was given by the government, the farmers could be benefited by this. But the traders decided to quote one particular rate. Say apples minimum selling price was rupees 70, and the farmers decided to tell it to 75 rupees. The traders quoted the rate of 72 rupees. The farmers were in loss and the traders started making money. So the government in the year 2005 re-amended this act. But again, the monetary factors was influenced by these traders, and again the farmers were in loss. Thus, the Modi government in the year 2020 brought in certain ordinances, and in the recent monsoon session of the parliament hearings in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, these bills got passed and became acts. Right? Now, let's discuss about these acts in depth.
True.
Yeah. So the first acts, that is Farmers Produce Trade and Commerce Act. According to this act, it creates an ecosystem where farmers and traders enjoy the freedom to sell and purchase farm produce outside the registered mandis or the APMCs. And here, one thing has to be clear, that the government is not removing the system of APMCs. It is giving an ecosystem or an opportunity to farmers that they can either sell it in the APMCs or the mandis or even outside. There is no barricade to it now. And to promote barrier-free intra and interstate selling of the agricultural produce by the farmers. If a farmer decides to sell his produce, if an Andhra farmer decides to sell its produce of groundnuts in Karnataka, where the market is higher, he has all the flexibility to come over to Karnataka, and the government would pay the price of his transportation and to sell his produce here. That is the main purpose of this particular act. And to reduce marketing transport, as I told you, to reduce the marketing and transportation cost, and to provide a facilitative framework for electronic trading or e-trading. So, during the advancement of India in the various other field, the agriculture sector is laying down very behind. So, in the e-sector, electronic sector, this has to be facilitative. What is the opposition stance to it? The states will lose revenue as they won't be able to collect taxes from the mandi or the APMCs. And what happened to the commission agents if the entire farm trade moves out of the mandis? And it may eventually end the MSP based procurement system. This is a wrong perception, ladies and gentlemen, that the MSP system is not being removed, and electronic trading like eNAM, the electronic agriculture system, would be beneficiary and would give more income to the farmers than the MSPs. Having said that, the second bill is on Farmers Agreement on Price Assurance and Farm Service Act. So this could be better understood as contract farming. So what is contract farming? We all know what are contractors. We call them, what for our purposes, we'll tell them our requirement, we pay an advance amount, we come into a contract, and once the job is done, we will do the final payment. So similarly, and contractors, my friends, are really rich. So similarly, contract farming is being established in India through this particular act. The companies, the MNCs, could come over to India, and the FDIs would come over to India, and they could have contracts with farmers. And this is not a dictatorial for contracts wherein they would pressurize the farmers. For example, if McDonald's would want tomatoes or cabbages, they could go and tell in the farmers that this is the particular requirement, this is the particular season that we require, this is the particular quantity that we require, and they come in a contract. And this would facilitate the farmers and the companies as well. The farmers in a better extent, because the price that was talked to would be the same. Suppose if the price was 20 rupees per kg, this would go on even if the market would fall down, right? So this is the benefit of contract farming. What is the opposition stance against this? What are the points that are contradicting this contract farming? That as India is comprised of many small farmers, small land farmers, and they cannot make huge, they do not produce huge numbers, and companies wouldn't come down to them, and marginal farmers wherein a couple of farmers would be made into an association and then come into contracts, and the MNCs will have best legal team to make the contracts one-sided, and also the legal advisors to fix in the correct amount which may look pleasing to the farmers, but then it should be in the benefit of companies. Yes, All these are the negative effects of this particular bill. But at the same time, the government through this act would intervene and make sure that both the parties are good enough and would look up to the farmers' goodwill in this particular act, right? And the third act, it's the Essential Commodities Amendment Bill of 2020. This was already there, but it is an amended bill. To remove commodities like cereals, pulses, oilseeds, and onions and potatoes from the list of essential commodities, and it will do away with imposition of stockholding limits on such items except under extraordinary conditions like war or natural calamities, to state a few. This provision will attract, as I said you, private sector FDI investments on farm sectors and will remove fears of private investors and middlemen who are harassing and exploiting the farmers, and to help both farmers and consumer by bringing price stability, and lastly to create competitive market environment and cut wastage of farm produce. What is the negative points? Price limits for extraordinary circumstances are so high, and big companies will have freedom to stock commodities. Big companies will have, as I told you, will have freedom to stock commodities. It means they will dictate terms to farmers, which may lead to less prices to the cultivators. And lastly, recent decision on export ban on onion created lot of doubts on its implementation. So that is the primal reason why farmers are protesting, and this agitation has been worst in the NCR region, the National Capital Region, because they have opposition parties out there and their farmers are more into commercial farming, and that would affect them. So what are the the main reasons of the agitation? The demands of the farmers are to strengthen the APMCs and to roll back on the ordinances passed. The APMCs should be protected. The loans of the farmers at all India level should be waived off. And lastly, a new national law should be brought in for MSPs, wherein 50% wage or the income should be gained by the farmers from their produce, whatever investment they do. Having said that, let's conclude this. When the bills have been introduced for the farmers, and farmers are only not ready to listen, this bill is in vain. And when two people are shouting from both the ends, we cannot listen to whatever we say. This is what the message that I want to leave. Success of an idea would be only reaped by the way it is being implemented. So the farmers protesting, please be safe. We are in this pandemic situation. You have a family to look up to. This is just nominal. The government might repeal it, might listen to the terms. As we already know, the PM Modi told, Prime Minister Modi Sahab told, to read or to look into the 10-page explanation given by the Agricultural Minister. So please stay safe, and to all my audience watching, COVID is not yet over. This pandemic is still out there. Until the medicines come, please be careful, stay home, stay safe. Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan.